Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We're focusing in on an experience in narcissistic and psychopathic relationships, and that is the experience of depersonalization. Depersonalization is the action of divesting someone or something of human characteristics or individuality. So the very thing that makes you yourself, the very sort of human expression that makes you who you are, the very sort of values that you possess, that you hold true as your own, as originating from within yourself. These are in essence what we call your identity or your personality. It is your thoughts, your behaviors, your mindset, your habits. All these go to create your identity, make you unique, make you who you are. And it is really this very characteristic that the narcissist as well as the psychopath tries to divest you of or separate you from when you're in a relationship with them. And I receive a lot of questions from viewers who are experiencing this and who ask me what to do when they feel like they have lost a part of themselves. They feel like they've lost a piece of them. They feel like they're, they don't have a sense of their own identity. And, it's, I get this question a lot of viewers who experience this and as a result of being involved in narcissistic relationships, and they've been programmed in this depersonalized sort of manner, and they've lived, really, it can be, many years of their life, if not most of their life, in this depersonalized manner. And how do you get over it? We'll realize how depersonalization gets set in and how it gets how it gets set up in the beginning. Depersonalization is when you abandon, you make insignificant, you let go of your own voice, communication, experience, values, truth, and empowerment for that of another who seems more significant, who seems more value, who seems more important, who seems to have more authority, or who claims that position over you. And in essence, they create this dynamic, this setting where their values, their needs, their desires are more important than your own. So this can be set up in a family setting, this can be set up in a business setting, this can be set up in a romantic setting, when in essence, this person you have now assigned meaning to, that they are extremely important. In fact, they're not so important. They're so important that they're more important than you. Satisfying them, their needs, is more important than you and you expressing your needs, your viewpoint, being able to have a direct experience with your reality in that setting. And this can be, as this continues again and again and again, it creates a habit. And a habit of behavior, thought patterns, or belief are nothing more than repeated behaviors, which create a neural network, a neural pathway in the mind, which is repeated again and again and again. And so there's a term in neuroscience which is called neuroplasticity, which means that the brain itself does have an ability to change. It does have an ability to learn. It does have an ability to be reconditioned, reprogrammed. So when we talk about being programmed, our identity is conditioned by these thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and emotions. If they are then programmed to react or be in essence in connection specifically with this one person, you are in essence like a secondary experience to the primary experience of this person. So you then adapt your personality to become a living reaction to them. You become an extension of them. You no longer get to have your own boundaries, your own viewpoint, your own voice, your own expression without feeling insulted, without feeling narcissistic rage, without getting, smacked up, beat, insulted, given a dirty look, given the narcissistic, piercing gaze. If you're not living to please them, The narcissistic disappointment is a very uncomfortable stage. And it can become so indelible that, you can't do really anything. You can feel very uncomfortable with doing things as simple as cutting your food, fluffing up your pillow, sitting on a couch. Anything you do can be then subject to being judged, subject to being condemned, subject to being criticized. The very everyday manner in which you put creamer in your coffee, you make a sandwich. I mean, nothing can ever be good enough because, in essence, the narcissist knows that they can have power over you, and they will exercise their power over you in as many situations and experiences as they see fit, and as they see, re-solidifying that relationship to them. So it really has no end, and it does become more pronounced with time. So this can create an experience of depersonalization, where you feel like you do not own yourself. You feel you are not yourself. You feel like you're disingenuine. You feel like you're living in an altered state of reality. You feel like you're not living by your values. You feel like, everything outside of you controls your reactivity. So a lot of people kind of swallow this going into their life, and it affects all areas of their life. Their career, how they are in, social settings. They can experience a lot of social anxiety because they are constantly controlled. If they're used to being controlled by this narcissist and depersonalized, then they experience that in their work setting where they're, very much not comfortable with themselves. They have this really pervasive insecurity in feeling like, well, just tell me what to do. I don't know how to behave. So that they don't have this, self-drive. They don't have this internal drive. They're constantly doubting themselves, constantly feeling low self-esteem, insecurity, all these various uncomfortable psychological, environments which are creating this sort of depersonalization. And that is oftentimes at the hands of emotional, narcissistic, and psychopathic abuse. Absolutely. So how does one actually get through this depersonalization? How do you get back to, your own values? You have to do that. You have to get back to your own values. You have to come back to yourself. You have to unplug from the values of this narcissist, of this psychopath, and realize that you need to let go of values that no longer serve you, let go of events or experiences that no longer serve you, and get in touch with what does really serve you, what are truly belong to you, your true authentic values, your true authentic personal expressions, being your own person, having a genuine connection to life, not being insulted for who you are. You want to be a meat eater. You don't want to be a meat eater. You want to learn to cook. You don't want to learn to cook. I mean, all the different, experiences. You want to be outdoorsy. You want to be less outdoorsy. You want to be indoorsy. All these different things. You have to get in touch with your own values, your mindset, your own essence, if you will. And how can you do this? By unplugging from the narcissist and toxic abusers. Get into a meditative state. Stop being bombarded from their requests, their emails, their texts, because that's just going to keep you habituated in that old blueprint of trying to satisfy them and being an extension of them. So unplug. Get into meditative state. Get into where you turn off the TV. You're getting involved in your own internal world as more important, really, than your your external world. And by, I don't mean go through life with a blinders on or with your eyes closed. What I'm suggesting is that you have an internal private self, an internal private life, which needs to get attended to, acknowledged, mirrored, embraced, loved, and nurtured. Picking up, where your parents left off. If your parents were not there for you, realize that you've got this this experience of this young child who needs protection, who needs love, who needs affection, and mirror and embrace back a positive validation to this person, your own experience, your own voice, and really, raise up your own internal reality, and unplug a little bit from all that control that's coming from outside of you, and learn to be self-directed versus externally directed, self-governed versus externally governed. Use and tap into and rely on yourself, your values as good, wholesome, genuine, and coming from that new place within. And then, and as you do that, you'll begin to really sort of allow the other external control to dissolve away. And then you'll begin to feel more personalized, more like yourself. And when I talk about this, I've addressed this in several other videos, but doing it in such a manner where in essence you can incorporate more than one sense. Surround yourself with visions, artwork, statements that remind you of who you are. I am so excited to live my life! Exclamation, exclamation. Write this in a handwritten note, and put this in your office. Or, I am at one with my creative vision, and put this in your office. Have your own affirmations posted where you can see them, and jog your mind and keep focused on your own experience in life outside of the narcissistic abuser. Do things that are comforting to your senses, to your taste, to your olfactory sense, to your kinesthetic, your physical sense. Getting into fabrics, furniture that are more comfortable, supportive, and encouraging of that comfort. Something cotton, something silk, whatever it is that is comfortable to you, that gives you a little bit more comforting experience in your own body. This will help attune you to your own body, and not that of responding to another, trying to look according to the appearance of that narcissistic abuser's taste, but your own taste. And not just being what the psychopathic abuser wanted, but being true to yourself. And incorporate that as strictly for you and not meant to please them or please others. And utilize this in all of your senses. And repersonalize yourself. Get to know yourself as a person. Go out for a walk. Indulge in your recovery journal. Getting to know and articulate, what are the things that I want? What are the things that I want to become? Where are some places that I want to go? What are some new talents that I want to emerge in participating in? What are some of the things that I've been procrastinating in my life? Where have I, been limiting myself, holding myself back from experiences and relationships because of this depersonalization? And start identifying, what has all this depersonalization, what has it really denied me of? Where has it really held me back? And now that I know that this feeling of depersonalization has held me back from X, Y, and Z, how can I challenge myself maybe 2 hours a week to go and face that challenge, face those fears, and learn to rely on myself in new settings with new people or new activities, so I can try out my wings, for example. I can try out my personality. I can allow myself just to receive. I don't have to be ashamed. I don't have to be afraid. I can just allow myself to receive and be in that setting as a first step. And then how can I work further, along and incorporate more of these repersonalizing experiences in my life on a daily or weekly basis, and increase it little by little, so I begin to feel more comfortable, and I can condition myself, program myself to exist, and really then begin to really thrive and live and create and express in these settings where I was hitherto held back from. And you realize that you can launch yourself, your life, your talent, and your personal expression in much more ways that hitherto you were holding yourself back. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.